Good afternoon. Jimmy Webb here, the Broad River Beeman, and I am here today in my son's bee yard, and we're going to be discussing record keeping for your bee yard. What I'm doing here, I'm going to take a mental note of everything that's going on in this hive, and I'm going to show you how you can use Google Forms with your beekeeping and you can become more efficient. So while we're doing this, I want you taking a mental note of what we're doing. We have no foundation. We got half honey, no queen. We got some cap. We got some open. We got some pollen, and we got some honey. Okay, this one, we have open brood, honey, cap. Where's the queen at? You see the queen anywhere? Right there. She looking good. She's laying good. You see her? All right, let's put her back. And the other one, it looks to be 1/2 honey. So we're gonna put that up. Close this hive up. It's November the 22nd. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And this is hive number 1022.
Jimmy Webb here, the Broad River Beeman, and I'm back, and I want to show you how you input the data. We just got out of the bee yard with hive number 1022, and we're going to enter the data inside. We could do it right beside the bee yard, and that's how I normally do it. Usually takes about 30 seconds for me to do it from start to finish. But I'm gonna go slower here just so you guys can see what kind of data I'm looking for. So my hive inspection, I created this Google Forms hive inspection specifically for my bee yards. So with that said, we just inspected hive number 1022, okay? And our bee yard is the backyard home bee yard. The hive type is a 5-story, 1 frame. The queen status, is she a good layer, average layer, poor layer? She's a good layer. There were no cells located. The temperament of the hive was gentle, and it was a strong hive. I split it about a month ago, and there were no splits made off of the hive. Next thing I look for is I look at the health of the hive. Even though I didn't see any beetles, any mites, ants, yellow jackets, moths, or anything like that, I'm going to put, for the purposes of YouTube, the hive beetles minor. And I'll show y'all how we can filter for that and go back and treat later. So I'm going to put pest treatment. We didn't do any treatment while we were in there, right? And if you can't see these, you can actually you can make it bigger or smaller, however you like it and however you like to input data. The next thing you would do, I like to keep up with the stores in my beehive, the open brood, closed brood, pollen, honey. So in that 1022, I saw 1 frame of open, 1 frame of closed, 1 frame of pollen, 1 frame of honey. At this point, we're going to submit it. And once you submit it, that response goes to a Google Sheets that has been attached to this Google Forms when I created it. And that's where all your data goes to. And if we're out in the bee yard, you would just go to the next beehive and start inspecting it. We went through that kind of slow just now, and it only took us probably a minute. So with that being said, we're going to go to the computer now, and we're going to look at the data collected. Thank you. And we're going to now analyze that data. I'm going to show you quickly the form and the Google Sheets that the data actually populated. So what you would need to do is go into Google Chrome and make sure that you have the Gmail account open that you are using. If you have a Gmail account, you have access to all these documents, which is pretty awesome. Very powerful. The free docs that you have available are Docs, Google Docs, which is like your Works or Word, Microsoft Word. Sheets is like Microsoft Excel. And your slides and forms your slides are good for presentations. Your forms is good for importing data. The forms, let's get to that. And I'm running through this because this is just a quick overview of Google Forms. I will do a more in-depth, start to finish Hive inspection form, data collection, YouTube video on a later date. But this is the Hive inspection form that I created for the purposes of YouTube. And I used I mirrored my own Hive inspection report for Broad River Farms. First off, I have my hive number. I need to know what hive I'm talking about, where it's located, what type of hive is it. The colony status is what's the queen? Is she a good layer? Is she installed? Is she a sale installed, queenless, emergency, poor layer? Temperament, gentle, jumpy, nasty for the entire hive. The strength of the hive. And health. Did I find any pests or diseases? Did I treat for the pests or diseases? And stores. A lot of people don't really collect data for stores, but I like to collect data because if I have a booming hive and I can take some open brood, closed brood, pollen, or honey from them and give them to a weaker hive, a lot of times I will. And then I can filter the data and find those hives that have the extra stores that I could use. So getting to the actual data, you can go to the top of your form and see the responses. Now you can actually go into the Google Sheet. Let's go into the Google Sheet. This is the little green icon that will take you to your data. And this is the data that I put in for the last couple of days. Now this isn't the data that I use in my own bee operation. I didn't want to compromise that in any way. I just added this data for the purposes of showing this YouTube video. But this is what's great about this data. Imagine it's just not 12, but it's 1,000 entries, or say it's 200 entries of where you've done inspections, okay? And you can never erase these, okay? You can keep going, and then you can filter and see what a hive has done over years. But in any event, let's show you how I can filter data and become more efficient in my bee yards. Say I want to find the poor layers of the group, and this is say 300 entries. I then can go in here and clear the data and find my poor layers. Now it pulled up my poor layer that I did in the last couple of days, 2121, Bowman, Georgia, and nasty temperament, poor layer. What am I going to do with that hive? I'm probably going to requeen it. It's November, so I don't know if I will probably merge it with another hive if I don't think it'll make it through the winter. But at least I know or have identified a poor laying queen. Okay, so also look at these down triangles. These are filters. This lets you know that a filter's on. So when you call me frantically saying, where's my data? Your data's not gone anywhere. You just have a filter on that you need to select all of them, and then all your data's back. Okay? So if you get to where you can't find your data, look up here in the filters and make sure you have all your filters off. Okay? So now I want to go and find all the hive beetles hives that I found hive beetles in. So what I'll do, and remember, this is just not 13 hives or 12 hives I'm looking at. Let's imagine there's 100. Then you just clear that, and then I'm going to look for all the hive major and minor. Okay, I have 3 of them, and I treated 2 of them. The bottom 2. one at River Farm, one at 17 acres, and then I hadn't done anything with the backyard, home yard. Maybe I didn't have a beetle trap, and I will need to go and look at that and see what I've done. If I hadn't done any treatment, then I need to probably in the next couple of days go back and check that hive and maybe maybe put in a beetle trap or apply chemical maybe. But that's how you do filtering, and filtering is awesome. It'll let you you can filter a lot of things. Say you've been you want to know what's going on with 1022. We only have one entry of 1022, but say I've checked it over the last year and a half, and I want to see everything that I did with 1022. Well, I got two of them. Okay, I did it on the 19th, and I did it on the 20th, and same stuff. It should be the same stuff because I checked it back to back, and I was putting that information in for you guys. So I may have 10 or 15 entries. You know what's awesome about this? If I'm selling this a nook, I can then print this off and show a buyer what I've done in that hive. That's important. That's important to me, is show the buyer that they get a quality box of bees. But anyway, that shows you that there's a filter on. You want to select all of them and get you all your data back. But again, this was a quick run through of how I use Google Forms and Google Sheets to make my bee operation run more efficiently. That you can filter down what you need to do. And let me tell you, when I had 5, I could keep up with them, even up to 10. But if you got 15, 20, 30, 100, 200, or 1,000, I can't keep up with that many. And I dare say that there's not too many people that can. You have to be able to have a good method of keeping up with the strength of your colonies, the stores of your colonies, and your queen conditions. That's important. So if you like the video, please subscribe and hit the little subscribe button below. Hit the little bell. And I will, in the next couple of weeks, do a start to finish YouTube video on creating a Google Forms hive inspection report. With that said, I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you have any questions or just want to message me or Gmail me, I'm at Broad River Beeman, BROADRIVER, Beeman, BEMAN at gmail.com. And I'll also put the Gmail in the description below the video. Thank you and God bless.